There's so much going on with this game. I didn't know what kind of video to make. Lately, players have been doing this glitch with the mods and weapons at the crafting station. Whatever you craft is God rolled. If I were you, I would stay away from that. If you don't think you're gonna get banned, most likely you will. If you don't believe me, think about Warlords of New York when that first came out, and when they had the damage glitch where you were able to just breeze through legendary missions with insane damage. One of my friends got rolled back. A couple other people I knew got rolled back. So don't think you won't get rolled back for this one just because the developers are the ones who implemented this bug. You got some people out here saying, hey, do this now. Congratulations to everyone who reaches level 40. All God rolled everything. No, that's not going to work. Anyways, this video wasn't really about that. I just wanted to express how foobar the situation is with the Division 2. I mean, who knew that everybody was going to be so pissed off at the new season or the new update before it even comes out? Man. Anyways, the situation is just getting worse because I've been having this problem for a long time. It's not really a big problem for me, but for a lot of others it is because so many people are hoarders. This results in a stash that's 299 out of 300, and I didn't want to get rid of anything, but I had to, and this is where the problem lies. Over the years, they've been adding new gear, new weapons, new whatever, and there's nowhere to put it at. The thing is, half of the stuff is garbage, and half of it is good, and without addressing the things that are garbage, they would add more things. Like, for example, Aegis, that gear set, I think I've only seen 2 people who said that it's useful. First of all, it's not even working in PvP. It's not even something that you can use in PvP. And in Legendary, you might as well use Foundry Bulwark because, I don't know, it just works better. And then, for the last 2 years, or the last, I don't know how many patches, the exotic weapons have been really bad. The exotic gear has been really bad. But we're going to get to that in a second. Anyways, I had to force myself to get rid of a lot of things in my stash. And if you need help with this, because I know some of you are hoarders, like literally on that show Hoarders, that I don't know if you've seen it before, but you have people living literally in trash. So just try to really look at your gear and your weapons and see which one is trash. I know you got duplicates of weapons. I know you have duplicates of exotics. I mean, I have 4 characters, okay? So I think that's part of the reason I keep duplicates. I have an Eagle Bearer for all 4 of my characters. I have a Ravenous. I have other exotic masks and gear that are for my other characters, okay? But aside from that, there are some things that I just don't need. So use the process of elimination, okay? First of all, if you have some gear that's been in there for over a year and you haven't even used it, get rid of it. If you have some gear that has some really garbage attributes on it and you can't do anything about it, meaning, because you know we have optimization now, but meaning if you can't roll it anymore and it has one attribute that you absolutely cannot use, like critical hit damage and I don't know, something else that you just can't use, get rid of it. If anybody else has any other suggestions, be my guest, but this is the source of the problem. And in this segment, I'm talking to the developers, okay? Because I've had people give me some feedback on my Twitter post that I made /X, and it got a lot of feedback. And one guy said, hey, I've been telling these guys for years, $10 for 100 spaces in my stash. They're leaving so much money on the table. That's what he says. My thing is that once a hoarder, always a hoarder. It doesn't matter how many spaces somebody gives you, you're always going to fill it up because it's the mentality of being a hoarder, right? And then I got a lot of other complaints about what should be done from the developer's perspective, and therein lies a problem. It doesn't really matter how much space for one that they give you, you're going to use it up. Even if it's 500, even if it's 1,000, the situation is just going to get worse. The problem is that you keep adding new gear and weapons, exotics, etc., and you're not addressing what's already here. There are so many weapons that are completely useless that nobody uses. I hear so many people always saying that the developers don't play their games. Well, I mean, you have to take a deep dive and look at what is in your game and see what works and what doesn't. Like, you have pistols that nobody's ever going to use. You have talents that nobody is ever going to use. And you have gear that nobody's ever going to use. I mean, I'm not the expert at this. I know what I don't like using, but you have to get a consensus of what the overall community thinks about it. I'm talking about PvP and PvE, and see what works and what doesn't. I mean, you could say that this game is on its last legs. It's going out the door and there's no point in doing that. But what are you doing right now? You're completely revamping everything. You had Project Resolve, so obviously you guys are planning on doing something with this game. So why not do things that are actually going to help out as you add things into the game. I don't know. All I know is that I come across this problem a lot. I like to keep some of the gear that I have. I like to keep a lot of the gear that I have, but it's not about the space of your stash. It's about the quality of the gear that's being added to the game. And then people would then be able to implement the process of elimination of your gear. Now let's talk about some of that bad gear and weapons. I'm just going to use the latest exotics as an example. I mean, we already talked about the ones in the last season. The Vindicator, subpar. The 𝐿𝐸𝐬𝐷 gear set, garbage. I'm just going to say it. And that's my opinion. I don't know. Like the video if you agree with me. The Mosquito. Now I know, I think Tux made a video about this or a post saying that, did you guys get this wrong? Did developers get this wrong? The most used exotic is the Mosquito pistol, exotic pistol. That thing is completely useless. I don't even know how to use it. I don't even know what the purpose of using that thing is. Yeah, that's useless. And then you had those iron grip gloves. It has to be the worst exotic gloves in history. Now, I'm just spitting the facts, okay? I'm not trying to bash y'all or anything like that. I'm just letting you know how it is, man. You have to put stuff in the game that's going to actually synergize with how the game is. Like, for example, the game, the way that people or players take damage is severe. Nobody can stand in front of anybody for a second because the damage is so much. You have so many damage bonuses being applied all at once. So if you have some gloves that increase your stability or accuracy while blind firing, nobody's ever going to stand up and blind fire in front of another person while they're ADSing. Maybe back in the day when you had the auto aim blind fire in Division 1, but other than that, nobody's going to do that. And nobody needs stability and accuracy on some exotic gloves because all you have to do is roll that or put a piece of gear on that has 50% stability like the Fenris 3-piece. Anyways, these latest two exotics, the Overlord shotgun and the knee pads, I don't even know what they're called. But first of all, Overlord, the name definitely does not fit the talent. Because all it does is that depending on how many pellets you land on an individual, enemy agent, or NPC, it slows them down. That's it. And like I said, you put a shotgun on like that, you're not going to be able to compete. The Scorpio can do that pretty much, but with better efficiency because you make them bleed with the Scorpio. And then it slows down their movement by default, right? And then it even in PvP foams the individual, which completely stops them in their tracks. So you have a shotgun that can do that and even more. So just adding this shotgun is not really doing anything but wasting space for my stash. I don't know. I was kind of hyped, like, oh man, I had this build in mind where I'm thinking, okay, all right, the title's going to be like, you're using the shotgun wrong. Basically, don't use it as a DPS weapon, but use it as a utility weapon. Put on a status effect build and just be a nuisance running around slowing people down and not letting them go anywhere. Yeah, no, that doesn't work because I'm just getting melted by everyone else. I mean, if you're running with a team or something like that, maybe you can just be the support player slowing everyone down, but the talent is underwhelming, man. I don't know. And then the knee pads, I don't know. We have the Booster Hive, we have Lady Death. I don't even think we need it. It's a waste of space. And here's the thing. You put some exotic knee pads in the place of where we use the Fox's Prayer knee pads, where you get some of the most damage that you can ever get on any build, and you're replacing it with movement speed. So, I don't know. That's pretty much all I have to say about this. I just wanted to express how I was feeling, give you some pointers or some tips on how to get rid of your stash or whatever's in your stash, and basically let the developers know that they need to kind of slow down and figure out what's going on in the game before moving on, because all you're doing is creating more chaos for the community. And I think this is part of the reason why so many people might be frustrated, because there's so many more issues going on at the moment. So you have to be kind of multifaceted with it. If you're going to add some new updates and new story content, new gear, new weapons, then you have to address what we already have so that it won't be such a hindrance trying to move forward on our end. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say about this. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. What is your stash looking like? And if you like this conversation, like the video. Also, don't hesitate to subscribe if you feel inclined. I'll see you in the next one. Be right out.